Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm hoping everyone is healthy right now and taking good care of yourselves with this virus going around. Today I want to talk about why are there so many true crime communities that exist on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter even. And it's as if people are bored, and it's almost like looking at a train wreck when you know you shouldn't look, but you look anyway. And I'm wondering, are we desensitized to violence these days? Or my theory is maybe we're very bored because we're so highly intelligent, we have to look for extreme things to think about. That was sort of a joke there. But maybe all of us are just curious, or most of us. It's kind of like having obsessive compulsive disorder, or being a very analytical type person where you have to make sense out of things. People want to be sleuths, they want to figure things out. It's like solving a very intricate puzzle, and you get to the last piece and it just doesn't fit. That was the case with the Chris Watts situation. And I'm not going to dwell on that case because Lord knows enough of us have. But people who were around him, and when we watched him in videos, we thought that he seemed meek, polite, nice, not at all narcissistic like a sociopath or a psychopath, as one would think. And he didn't have any symptoms of antisocial personality disorder prior to the case. He was diagnosed by the FBI, from what I heard, as having dependent personality disorder. And they said that his mother was always controlling and told him what to do. And then Shannon, his wife, did the same. When Shanann, went off to visit her family in North Carolina, suddenly there was no one to tell Chris what to do. And maybe he couldn't make decisions on his own. Maybe he was not used to that. Or maybe he was influenced by some diabolical mistress. I'm not going to open that can of worms, but I just can't see two intelligent people actually thinking that they would annihilate his family and not be caught. A lot of his co-workers said that Chris Watts was like Rain Man. He was extremely intelligent, a genius about certain topics, but he was socially awkward and lacked some social skills. And it's interesting because there are other killers who were also diagnosed with things such as being on the autism spectrum, which is something that Chris Watts could have been diagnosed with, possibly, because he seemed to have some of those characteristics. But Dylanklebold, who was one of the Columbine shooters, was diagnosed with autism. And James Holmes, the guy who did the Aurora theater shooting during the Batman movie, looked as if he could be diagnosed with autism or on the spectrum. I'm not sure about that, but a Michaelfitzgerald, who has a PhD in an autism-related degree in psychology, has done some research, and he coined the term criminalautisticpsychopathy. And that's when someone seems to have autism or be on the spectrum and also has some diagnosis that is similar to being a psychopath or antisocial personality disorder. I've taken a lot of criticism by suggesting that Chris Watts may have autism because people thought I was trying to say that people who are autistic are more likely to commit violent crimes, which is actually the opposite of the truth. People with autism are less likely to do so. But there have been a lot of killers and mass shooters that have been diagnosed with autism. So there's a slight correlation there that people might want to take a look at. Maybe researchers need to look at that. And again, I'm not trying to say that autistic people are violent. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. There's also something interesting that I've noticed, and I've noticed other people in different true crime groups have said that there's a lot of people from Colorado that commit these crimes. I mean, we have the Chris Watts thing, and then we had the patrickfrazee or Frazee case, and what else? There was the dylanklebold and the other guy that was involved in the shooting. And Ericharris, excuse me, my mind went blank for a moment, regarding the Columbine shooters, again in Colorado. And then there was the STEM shooting in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, and that was done by Darren Erickson and alecmckinney. And to go back, now that I've brought up Colorado and ticked everyone in Colorado off by implying there's lots of crime there, which I'm sorry, I don't really think that. I just noticed that there's a lot of true crime cases that come out of Colorado, but a lot of people have been moving to Colorado for various reasons: clean air, legal marijuana, etc. I just want to go back regarding the autism spectrum diagnosis, but Adamlanza, who was the Sandyhook shooter, was said to have been diagnosed with aspergers. But I'm going to move on from that topic. People look for correlations all the time between different diagnoses and different behaviors because we're trying to cure it. We're trying to prevent it from happening. We're trying to prevent the next tragic event from happening. And it's, again, important to put out the message: we're watching you. We're listening to you. If you've hurt other people, there's going to be consequences. Your name is going to be all over social media. Your name is going to be all over the news. People are going to know. If you want to hurt other people, especially children, your face and name is going to be everywhere. You're going to be held accountable. But I'm also a follower of criticalkay. I'm a fan of hers. She has a big following in true crime. And she points out how we don't really need a group of people like peasants chasing after other people with pitchforks, saying that they're guilty of this and that without knowing all the facts. And we don't want to have modern-day witch hunts. We don't want to falsely accuse anyone. We do have a justice system, though it is sometimes flawed, but it's a good one. We just want people to know, we want the next pedophile to know that we're watching you. Which leads me to the question, what about people who commit murders or engage in mass shootings because they want to be on the news? They want to be famous. Ericharris from Columbine, that seemed to be a factor with him. But that's a whole new can of worms and something to think about. But how do we deal with people who kill others because they want attention or they want to be famous? Thank you for watching. If you feel so inclined, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. And hopefully with experience, I'll get a little better at this.